Ani, Bojo, Joel Agawissa and Dishnikas. Morning, everybody. This is the first edition of White Buffalo Circle's at-home edition. I'm gonna post a little video today about something that my family and I have been, well, drinking for a long time, but especially in these times, and that's cedar tea. One thing you gotta know about cedar is that it is considered to be a sacred medicine for the Anishinaabe people. Creator gave us 4 sacred medicines, and those are tobacco, cedar, sage, and sweetgrass. And cedar is considered to be a protective medicine. It helps to protect our body, helps to protect our spirit as well. So today we're going to learn how to make some cedar tea. One thing you got to know about medicine is that even today, 90% of the medicines that you find in a pharmacy, they come from Mother Earth. They come from the forest. Somewhere on this planet you can go and pick those medicines naturally. We just put them in those pharmacies today to make it easy for us. And cedar contains tons of good medicine. Vitamin C, namely, but also other antioxidants that help to build the immune system and fight off different illnesses that we may come across. When those Europeans were coming across the ocean to Turtle Island long ago, many of them who arrived on the shores were sick and dying from scurvy, from a lack of vitamin C. So one of the first things that the native people would bring to those settlers was a nice hot cup of cedar tea. So let's go in and get started. All right, so when you're picking cedar, there's a couple things you want to avoid. One of those things is picking cedar from a tree that is near a busy road, because the fumes from the car will really affect the potency of the medicine in the plant. Another thing you want to avoid is picking cedar that is too old. You get these little pods, seed pods on the tree when they get too old, and the tree really gives a lot of its medicine to those seeds and to those pods. So you do not want to pick cedar from a tree that's near the road or a tree that is too old and has those seed pods on it. All right, so once you found yourself a nice little cedar tree that's not too close to a road, is not too old, medium-sized tree. You don't want to get one that's too small, too young either. You don't want to damage that. Then you're ready to harvest your cedar. Now, before I'm going to harvest this cedar, I'm going to put some tobacco down to give thanks for this gift that Mother Earth is about to provide to me. Tobacco was actually the first medicine that the Creator gave to my people, and that medicine is for prayer, for connecting with the spirit world, and it's also for giving thanks for those many gifts that we receive each day here on Mother Earth. So I use natural leaf tobacco that I harvest, a couple times a year. If you don't have natural leaf tobacco, that's fine. You could just use regular cigarette tobacco. It's kind of the intent that really counts. And if you don't have any tobacco at all and you still want to make the cedar tea, then I think it's okay if you get down and you just say a little prayer and give thanks in your own way. So now we're ready to harvest our cedar and put down some tobacco. Just remember, when you're picking your cedar, when you're harvesting it off the tree, you don't want to take too big of a branch. You just want to take a little branch, down the larger branch. Don't break the big branch right off the tree. You want about the size of your hand is a pretty good size. You just don't want to damage the tree. You want to make sure that it stays strong and healthy and keeps growing so you don't hurt it. Okay, so the first method I'm going to show you is how to make a single cup of cedar tea. You're going to need yourself a nice coffee mug. I got one of these little tea balls, got from David's Tea. And of course, you got your freshly picked cedar. Okay, we're going to make sure you rinse off the cedar really well. Get any dirt, small particles off that might be on there. And you're good to go. All right, now we got it all rinsed off, washed up good. What I did was just break the little leaves off of the stem here, get these washed up. Now I'm going to pack it into my little David's tea ball here, put the lid back on, and boil some water. Now, if you are a student watching this video, this is the time where you're going to go and get your parents, because we do not want students using scalding hot water. So we're going to use the tea kettle for our single serving portion, and we're going to use a boiling hot pot of water for our family size portions. Okay, so at this point, make sure your parents are with you and you're not using scalding water without supervision. All right, now we got our nice hot kettle boiled up here. Oh, kind of weird doing this looking through the camera. I'm gonna fill this bad boy up. And again, you don't want to do too much. 1 little cup of cedar tea is very powerful. So I'm just going to take my little Davis tea guy. I'm going to let that sit in there for 8, maybe 10, 12 minutes. Let it cool off. And then we'll be ready for the next step. Now we've been steeping this about 15 minutes. See, it's got some nice color to it. Now at this point, the tea is ready to drink. Now what I like to do, what a lot of people like to do if you've got it at home, is to add yourself a little bit of liquid honey in there. Stir it up. That makes it taste really nice. Or if you got some maple syrup, you might want to add a little bit of maple syrup. Just add to taste. You don't got to add too much. It doesn't taste bad by itself, but for me, I like to throw a little bit of honey or maple syrup in there just to sweeten the pot. Okay, so I showed you how I like to just make my 1 little single cup of tea here for myself, but this way, if you got 3, 4, 5 people that like a cup of tea, this is a great way to do it as well. So first of all, you want to make sure you wash your cedar leaves again thoroughly under the tap. What I did was I cleaned the leaves themselves off of the stems, and once this water starts to come to a nice boil, I'm going to put the leaves into the pot. I'm going to let it boil again 10, 12 minutes, really let the nutrients come out of the leaf and into the water, and then you're ready to have 4 or 5 cups of cedar tea for you and your family. Just remember, you really don't want to have more than 1 cup every 2 to 3 days. There's a lot of vitamins in this little cup of cedar tea here, so there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. All right, so we've been boiling this pot here about 12, 13 minutes. I got this cool little strainer thing on my pot lid, which comes in handy. If you don't got that, no big deal. If you pour a couple leaves into your cup, you just fish them out afterwards. Again, you don't want too much. I'll fill that up like 2/3. You can see the nice color in there. Then you can add your liquid honey or your maple syrup if you got that. Doesn't taste bad if you don't got that, but really sweetens it up nice if you can add that too. Also, one thing to note for sure is that when you're done, you may have some scraps, you may have some stems and little bits left over. And one thing you definitely do not want to do is throw that in the garbage. A teaching I received when I was young is that, especially these medicines, these are sacred medicines that God gave to our people to help protect us, take care of us. So what I'm going to do after is I'm going to take this outside. I'm going to return these scraps to Mother Earth. I offered my tobacco when we got started there. It started it in a good way before I harvested my cedar. So that's all there is to that, folks. Hot cup of cedar tea for you and your family. Hope you enjoy. Everybody keep safe and stay tuned for more videos. Ciao.